Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coaching You Through All Things Education podcast. This is season 4, episode 51, and I am ecstatic today to have Dr. Jerod Phillips, principal of David E. Robinson Elementary in the Cesar Rodney School District in our state of Delaware. My fellow podcast host of the Squad Builder podcast, public speaker, and entrepreneur. Today, we are going to talk about equity as a catalyst in recruiting and retaining quality educators. Welcome to the show, Dr. Jerod.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, indeed. Well, we are, like I said, I'm ecstatic.
I'm ecstatic right with you.
Right? You are everywhere on everybody's podcast. And I've been listening and enjoying, and I hope our listening audience has as well. Just giving us knowledge, of course, on Twitter, right? We actually go back, way back, and as Twitter friends and of course, colleagues in the state, but really excited to have you and hear your wisdom today.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to start with, that some of your my listeners are probably familiar with you and your work, but please share a bit about who you are and the platform or platforms that you stand on.
All right. I'm a school leader. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a friend, a brother, uncle, a lot of different things. But I like to look at myself as an educator that's wrapped around every aspect of my life. No matter whether I'm at church or at the store running into people, not only giving, imparting knowledge and wisdom, I pride myself on every interaction with anybody. I try to learn something from that person, even if it's a child, because kids have helped me tweak some things in my practice. So the platforms that I stand on, I love Twitter. Trying to do a little bit more with Instagram, dropping those reels when some inspiration hit me. Like none of that stuff is that you see that I post on Instagram or whatever. None of that stuff is really scripted. It's when it hits my mind, something that I've been thinking about or something I want to apply to my work. I just go on and create it and put it out there, just trying to be the content creator in that sense, between Instagram and Facebook, and dibbling and dabbling a little bit on TikTok. My teenage daughters, like that's their thing. TikTok seems a little different because too many students are finding me. And I'm in elementary school, so that stuff kind of scares me. So to me, but they'll make a comment like, "Whoa, Dr. Phillips," or something like that. But one fifth grader that found me, very good young man. He goes, he said, "I found you on TikTok." I said, "Oh Lord." He was like, "No." He was like, "Your messages are very good." He was like, "Keep putting them out there." And it's a fifth grade student. I always tell him, I think he's going to be like in the runnings for president of the United States. Like this young man is sharp. He like, since I've been at my new school, he has blown me away. I even had to call his parents and let them know, like, your son blows me away. Whatever y'all doing, keep doing. Even though I only got to spend February till now with him, y'all know my email. Here's my work number. Keep me in the loop. So with that, not going off task a little too much, those are the platforms on I stand. Like, I love Twitter. I haven't been on there as much lately because I'm trying to really build that Instagram piece,
Absolutely.
and really be present there.
Yes. Well, we have seen you everywhere. Those that they can look for you in those places. Excuse me. I'm wondering, could you just share really quickly what are your Twitter handles or what is your Instagram handles for us?
Okay, so my Twitter handle, and I don't even look at my handles that much. My Twitter handle is easy. It's JA Phillips 0722. That's Twitter. And on Instagram, it's the same thing. You just got to add a doctor in front. So it's DRJA Phillips 0722. And that's my wedding anniversary. I always use that date. Because some people was like, "What's the 0722 stand for your birthday?" I'm like, nah, my wedding anniversary. So anything I do, I want to make sure that my bride is weaved into there, because
Yes.
I can't do nothing like with some of the stuff that takes me away. Like if I'm staying at school late, or
Mhm.
in my man cave trying to create something, like she sacrificed a lot. So I want to make sure she's tied to anything I do. So
Oh,
that's where that 0722 is. And on Facebook is probably the easiest place to find me. That's Jerod Phillips, and then you'll see um my signature headshot.
yes,
And
yes.
oh, good old TikTok is is DOC Phillips.
Okay, because we want to be able to find you there. We'll also be able to see
Yeah,
some of your little clips of your different episodes that you've been on for different hosts of their podcast, but also your own, correct?
yeah. I got a podcast episode I'm dropping on Monday or
Nice.
next week that principals they gotta check this one out. I got a guest on that is really, it's summertime, so I got a guest on that it really will help them this summer with summer planning. Principals, don't wait till August to try to prepare. Like you gotta
Please
be doing it
don't.
now.
Please
Like
don't, right?
people will be people would be shocked if they see the stuff that me and my assistant principal already got done. That's for next year.
Oh, okay. Yes,
We
and
ain't playing.
it
We ain't playing.
well, that's how it's done, right? That's
Yep.
how it's done. All right. Well, we're going to move on to our next question. Thank you for sharing all that.
All right.
We are a small state with a big impact, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
Delaware's motto for our talent pool of educators. What comes to mind when you hear that phrase, and how does it align with your statewide, district-wide, and school-wide, excuse me, as well as nationwide and global-wide goals around doing something different in education?
Okay. I got a name drop right here. When I think of small state, big impact, I think of you.
Oh,
I think of Dina. I think of Doug. I think of Steven. Um, I think of a couple people down south, such as Equetta, um, Andrea. And what I mean by small state, small impact, these are the people that we all connected either on Twitter, policy and practice, when we all were in the classroom, or something where
yes.
everybody thought it was corny or don't have time to be on Twitter.
How about
And now look, yeah, like people, like I don't forget back when I was in the classroom, 2011, 2012, trying to be on Twitter. People thought that stuff was corny. Like what are you doing on there? Like you getting resource, like I was getting resources from people in New Jersey and like trying to integrate them in the
that?
classroom.
Yes,
What are you doing? What are you doing? Blah blah. Like thought it was all corny and not cool to do. Like what is that? Um,
we're
like
learning, right?
it was only like it was only a small pocket of us like in Delaware that's really connected on that level. So when I think of small state, big impact, that's why I think of people like I'm taking myself quiz. I think people like yo, because now look and see the work that you're doing, and you're helping one of my main core missions of the Squad Builder podcast with recruitment and retention. I look at the work that Dean is doing, like out, she's out speaking in California, you know,
Absolutely.
on the platform with Sheldon, you as well, over the country, Andrea, like, and it was just all of us seeing each other on Twitter and policy and practice and just connecting. That's how a small state makes a big impact, when you can block out the noise and be like, hey, I'm doing this for my career. Like, it started off for your own professional development that branched off into something bigger, and now you got people from the neighboring states looking to apply here and come to work here.
Yes.
That's small state big impact, because it wasn't a lot of us doing it, and now look at the network that we can tap into.
Oh,
um,
indeed.
and that last part of the question, when it, because I you know I harp on in interviews, people answering every part of the question. That's one of my biggies, because they don't be skipping over nothing, so I ain't gonna skip over
Right,
nothing.
right, right.
Um, and it said, how does it align to my statewide, district wide, nationwide, and global wide goals around doing something different in education? It wraps around being able to, that part of me is being able to connect with anybody globally, get answers globally to our local problems. Because
Real time,
anything,
right?
yep, in real time, in,
Yes.
in real time, like those are the key things. Like I'm doing something different in education, not having a problem, knowing that, oh, my district's principal cabinet isn't in for another 3 weeks, and harboring all them issues and problems, and then taking up the time at that principal's meeting, dumping all them problems on there when you got connections all over the globe that you could have been hitting up way
Absolutely.
before that meeting to get an answer.
Yes, that's an important point, because like you said, I mean, we did start way back in the day.
Way
Makes
back in
it
the
sound
day.
like we're old, but we're not. But no, but seriously, and we understood that, right? At
Hmm.
minimum, we knew there were experts beyond ourselves, right? And so
Yes.
we saw each other within the state as experts or in different areas, right? Because you had already been an assistant principal. I was going for assistant, right? So you had expertise in leadership that I didn't have yet, right? That's a good example of like gleaning from different
Hmm.
expertise areas. But then we didn't stop there. We weren't like, oh, okay, well, we tried it in-house. Now what's New Jersey? What's New York? What's California doing? And then, like you said, as time evolved, right? And as we evolved as leaders, because all of that you listed are teacher leaders, aspiring leaders currently. And so it became, oh my goodness, Japan has an idea, right? That we haven't thought about yet. We need to incorporate that into how we lead or how we teach children or how we think about teaching
Yep.
children, etc. You know what I mean? And so I love your points about that, that it is beyond ourselves, right? And we
It
sought that
is.
out and we've tried to grow that network, right? We weren't just like, okay, well, we're the only ones who are doing it. We always try to encourage people,
That's the truth.
to you join too, or hey, have you gotten on Twitter, and even if they giggle, then guess what? Sometimes they get on there,
That's the truth.
right?
That's the truth. That is
Yes,
the truth.
yes. So that's awesome. All right, here we go. What is your definition of equity? And what does that definition look like and sound like as a building leader and as a statewide leader?
Okay. My definition of equity, like I love a lot of the different definitions out there, like how Dr. Sheldon Eakins describes it, how even our state puts it out there. But me, I've simplified in my work. I just had to simplifize it or break it down to giving each student and educator in my building what they individually need when they individually need it.
Yes,
And
yes.
what that looks like as a building leader for me, looking at, okay, for example, teachers.
Mhm.
There are some teachers that will never need to come to the office. They just in their classrooms do what they do. So what they need from me is probably just a frequent check-in, like, hey, like me stopping by on them. Hey, you good? Need anything? How's your husband? How's your kids? And like let it start from there. Where some other teachers may be of the mindset of they see something in the building that doesn't quite look right, and
Mhm.
it festers in their brain, and then you got a gossip train starting. So for that teacher, I may need to say, hey, I hear you're a little frustrated with this. You are absolutely right. That is an issue. Come talk to me. And that teacher may need of, hey, please come down here during your planning whenever these things jump into your mind. Where that's teacher B, where teacher A doesn't need all that because teacher A is like, I got enough going on in my world. I don't need to be in the office. Like my kids got all these after school activities.
Oh,
I'm doing
absolutely.
planning on Sunday night. Like all I need is for Dr. Phillips just to let me rock. That to me, that's equity. And then like for kids, what a lot of people miss the boat on
Mhm.
is we do a lot for students that how can I put it? For students that have challenges, but we forget about the students that are day in day out do everything we need them to do. So for
Yes.
me, equity for them is ensuring that you know, like our student council, those kids were the ones that did morning announcements with me. Um, those students when those half days or days in the school year where other their second grade teacher, if they're a fifth grader or second grade teacher, needed stuff helping break down classrooms, allowing that student like, hey, you rock out, you do you today because you've earned that right. You do everything we need you to do. Like you not being in class today, as long as it's all right with your parents, is not going to affect you because you've already go support and help that teacher. And that gives them that leadership that they want. Whereas that student with the behavior problems, we can't do that with. Like we gotta weave in some other things on what they need.
Sure, absolutely.
And at the state, as a statewide leader,
Mhm.
um, I think that what it looks like is listening to people and listening to their own journey and their own thoughts on our education space, and trying to encourage them, because
Mhm.
it's, y'all know my positive message. I'm trying to minimize as much bashing of our profession as possible, because hey,
Woo,
I like
indeed.
we gotta we I think we do the best work in the country, and people need to know that. Like they
Right.
saw it in COVID, but now it's starting to trend backwards, and I'm not gonna let that slide. Mm-mm.
Right. No, I hear that. No, absolutely. So you made an excellent point, of course, with the building level. And it was really important to hear, because you had experiences, at different buildings, right? To be able to hear that common thread of it's what someone needs, whether it be a student or a staff member, when they need it and how they need it, right?
Mhm.
And that's so important. And I think that we've gotten away from that. We're very fortunate in Delaware. I mean, I know you've been hearing the buzz across the
Mhm.
country. The word equity is taboo outside of Delaware and in other states.
Yes.
Not everywhere, but in quite a few. And so for us to have from top down the support of the governor, as well, of course, the Secretary of Education and the one who came before that, around equity, and then bringing that down into the building level, where we have equity leads and equity discussions. And like you said, you yourself, I see yourself as an equity leader. That's different than some of our other 49 states. And so for us to embrace that, and to, as you said, it's an ongoing process, right?
It is.
Like for example, I'm thinking of staff member A has so much on their plate, whatever, they're a
Mhm.
veteran teacher, whatever it is, and they got it, right? They've got it. They just need you to check in with them. Anything could change in life from day to day, right? And now, because you're in tune, right, you're still checking
Mhm.
in on them, right? You didn't say, oh, they've got it, and I'll never see them until it's time for observation, because I know that's not you anyway. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, because you're always have this check-in, you're going to pick up on, the fact that teacher A, something has changed,
Yeah.
in their life, and they could have a whole different experience, and then their needs are different, and you will be responsive. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that people really needed to understand that it's not, like I said, it's not a taboo topic, and it's
Nope.
not a heavy topic, right? It's really about caring, right? It's really about thinking about
Care.
someone else, right?
Care. Yes.
Absolutely, right? Which is an important component of leadership. All right. So let's see. How can we apply your equity definition and implementation strategies to recruiting talent for our schools?
Oh, so this is a biggie. Oh, we need to do an episode just on this alone. This
Yes.
this right here starts at the application screening process to me. Um,
Yes.
Too many
Yes.
times in education, we look at somebody that may be applying to come to your school or your organization, and you see several movements within the past several years, and that's a knock on them, like they're job hopping. No, if
Mhm.
you see they got the requisite skills and that they're taking the time to apply, do your own homework by reading through their whole application packet. And then if that's a question you have,
Homework.
add
Yes.
it to the interview, add it to the interview
Right?
and find out. Like, stop just assuming that people are just job hopping. Because if
Right.
you do your homework, I,
Mm-hmm.
I, just, I just noticed like 9 times out of 10, a lot of times the reason why a person left was valid. Like I didn't think that way until I got into leadership. And like as I'm the one looking at applications and stuff, that that whole job hopping thing is far from my mind most of the time. Now there's been out of 10, there'll be that one where it's like it might look a little fishy, but
Oh, sure.
um
When
that's
you
looking at it
ask the
from a
question,
yeah,
right?
That's
Mhm.
looking at it from an equity mindset,
Absolutely.
or the notion of this person doesn't have the experience. Because if we hang our head on that, that means you're going to let everybody else do the training. You're going to let everybody that you bring in be trained by somebody else, and now you may have to break some bad habits. And I learned this from my wife. You might want to get somebody that's raw and mold them yourself.
Come on now. All right now, because isn't it true that, I mean, well, do you feel this way as well? That there are people that are moldable. Like you can, like your heart needs to be in the right place around kids, right?
Yep,
And then I can teach you this, that, and the other, around teaching, etc. But as far as the other way around, it's really hard to change somebody's heart right away,
it
right?
is.
So is that what you mean by being moldable?
Yeah, but you're being moldable, whereas
Mhm.
you don't have to hear, well, my last two principals did it this way. I've never seen it done that way. Because I'll tell anybody, if you
Okay.
think that you're going to come work for Dr. Jerod Phillips Sr. and that I'm going to be like every other principal, don't come work for me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't nobody else. I ain't no, like I will admit, and that can be a detriment. But
Right.
the thing that teachers work for me know is I understand that about myself. I don't want to be
Oh,
like nobody else, and I
absolutely.
want to be different. So if you see something that, ooh, this could be a problem with me and him working together, come
Ooh,
back. Let's have a conversation because you you
exactly.
may tell me something like, ooh, I do need to change that part of my practice. Thank you. You
Absolutely
just
right.
you just helped me add something to my toolbox. But
Exactly. And you're open, and that's exactly it. And I don't,
yep,
that's not always right expressed, I should say,
yep,
by leaders. And so, like you said, let's have a conversation, right? Let's
yep.
not just assume. So I love it. All right, here we go. Retention is the best recruitment strategy. How can we apply your equity definition and implementation strategies to retaining talent in our schools? That's
So
another episode full.
mhm. So that way, I know we got I got to shorten my answer. For me, I think that definition of giving each individual teacher what they need in that moment um, will make them feel like they are cared for by their principal. And even if they do start exploring, if they see the energy that I bring to a room or the energy that I bring to the school, or different just things where it allows them to be themselves in
Mhm.
their own space, even if they start looking, they're going to be looking for some of those things that they still like about where they are. And if they go on an interview and they don't see that, I'm more likely to retain them.
True.
And giving people what they need, giving each individual what they need, and allowing them to have a voice. They may have friends in other schools and they see that their friends don't get that same voice. They'll say, well, the grass isn't greener somewhere else, so let me stay put.
Mm, okay.
Mhm,
That is an excellent point. Because as we know, what happens in your building is actually what
mhm.
people are looking towards, right?
Yep.
Even if before they're applying, that's the good old word of mouth, right?
Good
So
old
if
word
you
of
have a
mouth.
great, right, exactly. So if you have a good, strong culture in your building, right, that good word of mouth is going to go, or if it's the opposite, right, that also is going to trail out. But like you said, once they get hired, it can't be like, you have to be a person of your word, right?
You
And
got to.
obviously leaders need grace, things happen, things change, but if their timeline is different, that's different than I never did it at all. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And so that's fantastic. All right.
Yep.
So, what are 3 tips you want to leave our listeners with regarding equity as a catalyst for attracting and retaining quality educators?
First tip is keep an open mind when hiring. The second tip I would say is um, challenge your own thought process around how you've hired before and how you see some of your school leader friends hiring. I think that's two, and then three, which a lot of people may not want to do. Three is you gotta start. You really gotta continually dig into literature and mediums that are talking about equity. Um, like some of Unfold the Soul, Ken Williams' stuff has really
Yes.
transform my thinking around, ooh, these are the type of teachers I need. These are what I need to look for. And
Uh-huh.
it really flips your brain because some stuff you can't see in the application. So you gotta tailor your interview questions to pull that out of people. So those
Absolutely.
are the three tips. Open mind, challenge your own thought process on how you've hired before and what you're currently doing. And then three, you gotta make sure that you're staying. I gotta always add it in. You gotta make sure you're staying current on what's going on around equity, whether
Yes.
it be literature or visual mediums. Like I know some people may not want to pick up a book all the time, but man, there's enough videos you can listen to while you driving or enough podcasts if you ain't picking the book up to gain some of the same knowledge.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Keeping fresh and always thinking of the next thing with so many experts out there
Yes.
in the world. All right. And this is trending on the podcast and one of my questions.
I like this one.
Right, right.
Hard
If
to narrow
you,
it down though.
right. Oh, it's all good. I bet you got the answer. If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what legacy message would you print on it and why?
Oh, that's this one. No whining, no complaining. Let's get it done.
Come on now.
No
Both
whining, no. Like it's funny. My sister principal was messing with me. It was we were talking about something about education, and then like we were talking about like the complaints around it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, if they want that wine, they better go to a bar because don't come here with that.
I love
She
it.
bust out laughing. I was like,
I bet.
no, no, no whining, no complaining. Let's get it done.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. That was short and sweet, but it was
Yep.
perfect.
I would like to be on the billboard. Like you can have it at the top of my head, and I'll just be pointing to it
Right,
right. Just
right.
like no whine, no complaining. Let's just get it done.
I
Because we
love
spent too much, we spend too much time on the whine and complaining piece. Like you got an hour long meeting, about 30 minutes done past, man. Now we only got 30
How
minutes to
about
work. Like
that? How about
let's come
that?
in, let's come in and get to work. Like we can't change nothing. It's already been done. So let's don't even like have a conversation about it. Like let's
Right?
just jump right in.
Let's come solution minded, right?
Ooh, solution minded.
That's
That should be
it.
your billboard. Come
That's
solution minded.
yes, indeed. Well, my goodness, I know we're definitely going to have a part two. No, I'm
Yeah,
serious. Absolutely love speaking with you today,
you
hearing
too.
gems, the nuggets, right, that our listeners can take away. I know I could take some things away too and use right away. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time and energy. And until
Thank
next
you.
time, we'll have an awesome rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
All righty.